Hey everybody, it's your girl Evie from Because Evie Said So. I hope the holidays were everything you needed and wanted them to be, but we are back. We are back. SVU and Law and Order Organized Crime aired yesterday. I saw it today, so we're going to talk about it. Like we always do. We're going to go into how did it start, what happened, who did it, why, and how did it end? Well, how did it start? Well, it started out with this guy spewing rage and hate and broadcasting to his followers in regards to how he felt, like a manifesto of what he had felt inside of him. It looks like that he wanted to rid himself of Jews or Sikhs or Israelites, or I don't know if I'm saying that right. Anyway, any nation that wasn't all white, I guess, is what he wanted to get rid of, or anyone that was aliens to the country. Anyway, what we see happening after he spews all this hate to his followers is we see that a rock is actually thrown through the window of a synagogue, and these people are actually hurt when the rock is thrown in there. Of course, there's glass flying everywhere, and we see a Sikh, I don't know how to pronounce that, Sikh. He was actually stabbed outside of his cab. As he was getting ready to get in his cab, someone rolled up on him. What we see next is Declan Murphy. You guys remember him, Amanda's baby's daddy, Jesse's father. Yeah. Well, anyway, he comes in to the office. Well, actually, he's already there. They meet him at the office. The chief accompanies them, and they go in to meet Declan and his task force, which have been assigned to this particular case. Well, these cases. And Amanda, I love how she throws that in there. She's like, well, always good to see you. Welcome home, basically. I thought that was kind of slick, you know. And the chief says, you guys know each other? And Finn is like, basically, for the most part, you know, so yeah, they kind of know each other. So Detective Carlotta Goldstein is played by Jason Biggs, right? And Ruse, who already worked with them in the Bronx, remember there was this bad cop that was dealing with Amanda on a case. Well, anyway, they ended up having to kill him. I believe they had to kill him. And so now Ruse has been transferred to this particular unit. And that's good, because I didn't really know what happened to her. So it's good they wrapped that up. Well, now we've got a full scale mobilization. And we're going to find out who's being attacked, who they were, why, who did it, you know, and all of this on Christmas Eve. My goodness, you know. So Declan's working with this crew. He wants to help with the case. No, where did he come from, though? I thought he was assigned elsewhere. Well, he was. He was so deep in where he was before that they actually had to stage his death in order to get him out of wherever he was. I mean, you got to be deep in something if they got to make you die, like, in order to get you out. But anyway, he did his therapy. He's back. So now he's helping with the hate crimes task force. They alert the reporters. And then they move to the synagogue so they can talk to the rabbi. Sorry, guys, these lashes are killing me. Anyway, they go talk to them, and then they go talk to the Sikh driver, and the cab driver, that is. And he's in the hospital, and they're like, well, did you do anything to provoke this? And he's like, what we see next, and they're like, well, did you do anything to provoke this? And he's like, absolutely not. I've done nothing to provoke this. And I actually feel sorry for him. I feel sorry for all the victims, because you know what? They're different. Yes, they're Jewish, they're Israeli, they're Hillel, they're Sikh, they're Amish, but it doesn't make them any less important in this world. You know, I happen to be of a different religion. It doesn't matter. Jesus loves all of us, whether you believe in him or not. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying, they actually talked to a Holocaust survivor, and she felt like she wasn't going to make it through this night. And she made it through the worst period, one of the worst periods in history. She made it through. And now with this attack and these attacks that are happening, she's scared all over again. This is horrible. So Amanda and Declan, they agree to talk later, and that's okay. So this guy walks up to him with a dog, Danica. I really like the name of that dog. It's a cute name. But anyway, he's like, well, what did you find out? Do you know anything? And he's like probing them to figure, what do they know? And they're like, nah, but if you see anything, give us a call, right? So they give him the card. So one of the officers speaks Arabic, and he goes to talk to the guys in the restaurant. Now, he tells them about a white van that was actually driving away from the scene of the crime. And by the way, you guys, I took notes. So if you see me looking off in the distance, it's because this was all so juicy, I had to write it all down. Well, he didn't see much, but he did know that the Molotov cocktail came in there, and he indicated they were putting out the fire. They didn't get a chance to see who it actually was. So then they go talk to the Amish guy in the hospital. He said he was beaten up by black teenagers. So I guess they're going to blame this on black people, right? Anyway, I digress. Move on. Captain Benson is called away because they have something, right? Now, the boys that were on camera, the African-American boys, they were seen vandalizing one of the buildings. And Liv does not want the faces of the boys put on media because the chief is like, call the stations, put their faces out there. We got to catch them. And she's like, they're children. We're not going to put their faces out there. We don't have the right to do that. So anyway, once again, the chief's getting on my nerves. That's why I like the other chief, but he's gone. Anyway, so I like the deputy chief. So they're working Christmas Day now. And they need 2 hours. They said, give us 4 hours and we'll find out who these African-American boys are. And he says, no, you only get 2. So they're trying to go talk to people in the bodegas and the churches and the neighborhood people to see if they can track these boys down. Well, they do. One of the African-American pastors tells them that Declan is one of the boys that was actually vandalizing on film. And he speaks to the police with his mom in the church, and she tells him to tell them what he knows, basically. So he said he's really sorry. He didn't participate in any of that brick throwing or anything like that, because when he threw his brick, he threw it to the ground. He didn't throw it to damage anything or any property. So in turn leads them to Jarek. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Jarek. I'm just going to say Jarek. Now, he's not sorry for what he did, because they have him down at the station. And he says that, I'm not really sorry. You can call my parents. They're not going to even come down here. So that makes me wonder, what is his home life like? I feel sorry for him too, because he's in trouble. He needs his parents. And yet and still, he doesn't feel like his parents are going to come down there to help him. But Julius, the other guy, because it was 3 of them, has no record. And he does have remorse. He says, I'm so sorry for what happened. I didn't really mean to do that. Please forgive me. So I don't really like the chief at this point. He's racist to me. I mean, he assumes the worst of black people. He assumes the worst of any people at this time. He's a bomb himself. He's set off easily. He's ready to jump right in, clothes on, shoes on, into the water. He doesn't even care at this point. But I'm so glad that Captain Benson is there. Liv tells him, hey, wait a minute. We got this, okay? And we're going to do it our way. Just let us do our job. So they can't tie the kids to the attack, because at the time that they're actually interviewing these kids, they get another phone call indicating that there was another mosque that was actually bombed and it's on fire. So they see that these kids aren't really in this, because Liv keep telling him that these kids couldn't have done this. This is smart. Not that the kids aren't smart, but you got arson, you got stabbing, you got vandalism, you got political themes here, tribal hurt, tribal hate here. No, I'm not referring to any of our Native American people, but the tribalness within ourselves in order to hurt someone. Now, I hate that they have to talk to him like a child, but they really do, because he's being stupid. I'm going to say it, he's being stupid. So the mosque has been bombed, and we see that Jewish senior citizen facilities have the possibility of being bombed too. So they find this bomb in the senior citizen facility, and thank God, because otherwise these people would have died. So who did it? They've been working 24 hours. They haven't seen their kids. It's now Christmas Day. And that's a shame. but work calls. So Declan and Amanda, they talk. He says he's missed all of Jesse's Christmases and birthdays. And yes, you have. But she assures him that their deal is still in place. She wanted a baby. She says she could do it by herself. She's doing it by herself. So they pulled Declan out, like I said, because they faked his death. And Amanda admits that what they did before was wrong because he was her supervisor and he agrees that it was wrong, but they grown, right? So he asks if she's with someone. And I was ready for her to say, yeah, I'm with Carisi, or none of your business, but either way, they kind of cut away from that. They didn't say anything. So I was like, okay, so obviously Carisi's not really going to be in this very much, or is he, So she tells him that she's happy. And then the guy with the dog comes back, Danica, the guy with the dog. So he tells them his name is Don Johnson because they ask him, what's his name? Don Johnson? Really? Miami Vice? Whatever. So they find out that his name is Darkov Pavic. And if I am mispronouncing any of these names, this week the name list was on 20. Okay, not on 10, on 20. Because I don't know all these names. I don't know the pronunciation. So please don't hold it against me, okay? So the Moss cameras were working and they see a man coming in and out. No face. They can't really tell who he was. So Kalund is the name of the other officer I told you that was speaking to the halal people in the restaurant. Yeah. Well, he gets some more information. The teens that are on the news, though, right now, because somebody, and I'm probably going to say the chief, put them on the news anyway. So now they're out there forever as vandalists. That's going to really affect their life. That could affect a college application or job application in the future. But so anyway, Darvos is from Serbia, right? Serbia. And he has something against his prior landlord because he was in a fire and he didn't win the case. He got really bad smoke inhalation and it damaged his lungs, so he's on disability. So we're thinking Darvos is the person that has done this, that has issues with immigrants or anyone else that's not from this country, right? So Darvos has been shot, though. They get that call. He's been shot and a motorcycle is seen riding away from him. So now it got me wondering, okay, wait a minute. Did they shoot him because he knows something? What, right? Sorry, I cut off a little bit. But anyway, so they are now going to go talk to him in the hospital. And she's talking to him. And Amanda is talking to him at the hospital at this point. Because they're trying to get information out of this guy. They don't know whether he's crazy, if he did it, if he's in on it, or what. So Amanda throws this really quick signal to him. Something like this or whatever. I don't know what that means. So anyway, she gets him to give her his keys to his apartment and to put his cell phone number in her cell phone or put her cell phone number in his cell phone so that she in turn now has his phone number. I thought that was kind of slick. She volunteers to walk Danica, the dog. I mean, who doesn't love that? Somebody's going to walk their dog when you're down and out. He's in the hospital. He's been shot. Okay, so they get to his apartment. So Finn's in there, this new Cologne guy, and well, he's not new. We've seen him before. And Amanda. So Amanda and him go in there and they're like, well, we can't search for anything. And then this guy, Cologne, which I really love, he's thinking on his feet. He's like, well, what if we need to find a leash? Is that a closet? It might be in there. So they go in there and what do they find? Bombs. So now they need to evacuate the whole building. A new squad is called. This guy is crazy, obviously. He has a roommate. His roommate is this guy that was doing the rant, the hateful rant. So they say, we're not going to really clue in the FBI, but there are 4 bombs that are still missing. So now they're in the room. Now they have to tell the FBI. And they're arguing back and forth that they need to talk to Darvos. Because Agent Strict is like, we already talked to him. He ain't giving up nothing. They're like, look, let us add him. We'll get the information. Let us do our jobs. So they talk to him. Rollins is his friend, he thought. And they tell him that she's in really big trouble for what she did. So they kind of playing it. Well, they actually are playing him to get the information. He's worried about his dog. So he's like, well, where's my dog? And they're like, look, you facing murder, hate crimes, and the death penalty. We're going to talk about the dog later. So senior citizen facilities have been hit as well. So now they're throwing the book at him. So Captain Benson tells Davos that they're taking advantage of him, the guys that he's working with, and that she really wants to help him. He says, okay. I know this guy, but we only use codes. His name is AJ. North Star is another code name for the other guy. So they drove to his apartment to drop that stuff off to him. That's what he tells Olivia. So he says, okay, that's what happened. So they kind of track it down to a wireless shop in the Bronx, and the manager that's in the store says that a guy came in and bought 5 phones. He wore a motorcycle helmet. He gave the phones to 2 others outside of the store because they could see that on the camera. Well, the 5 cell phones were turned on, and one of them had an Ohio number. They tracked that down to this guy called Antonio Juarez. Now they're calling his wife, and she says his ex. Well, they're calling his wife, and they're like, well, where is he? And she's like, well, what did he do? And they're like, where is he? So they tell her nothing. And she says, well, he went to Brooklyn. And then they say, and she says, well, his ex lives in Brooklyn. And she's now mad because she thinks that he snuck off to Brooklyn over Christmas to spend it with his ex. And they have a kid together. So they get AJ. He tells them that the bomb is in a backpack under the Christmas tree. You have a bomb in a backpack under the Christmas tree in the house with your ex-girlfriend. You don't care nothing about her. Anyway, so he says no one has the whole plan. So they all work out part of the plan. Each person plays a part. So he in turn tells them who's his contact. He goes and meets him, and this guy, Tom Nolan, is captured. He has got to tell them what's up because they're running out of time. So Captain Benson is not playing around with this guy. She says, I know all about you. Here's a picture of your wife. Look, I know. And she is pissed because people are getting killed. They're getting hurt, and she don't have time for none of this stupidity and none of this hate. So she's like, you're going to tell me what I want to know, and you're going to tell me now. So I believe her because she reminds me of my mom. She's all about the business. Okay. So she gets him to confess that, some people that he's been working with, and that his wife is actually the one that made the plan. Okay, wait a minute. His wife is the one that made a plan? So there is the crazy man ranting and raving in this video that they have, a clip of it. And who's filming it? Nolan's wife. Tom Nolan's wife is filming it. So she obviously is in a relationship with this guy. So not only is she cheating on her husband, but she is one of the ringleaders to this whole thing. So anyway, she hits the table, Olivia does, and my first thought, like I told you, was of my mom. They're going to go to Washington State Park because that's where they were headed. So Susan is the name of his wife, and Liv and Declan spot him in the crowd when they get down to Washington State Park. They spot him. His name is Robert. Her name is Susan. So they corner them. They're trying to back out of it, but Liv is there, and Finn is there, Amanda's there, Declan's there. Everyone's there, basically. And they're cornering these people because they have to get them. They're going to set off another bomb in this park, and it's very busy. It's Christmas Day. So anyway, Susan's like, they're going to kill us. They're like, put your hands up. And she's like, they're going to kill us. Just, Robert, it's over. They're going to kill us. And he's like, no, it's not over. I have a bomb. And he holds up the bag. And they're like, don't do it. Don't open that bag. Do not do it. And they're trying to tell him, and he's still talking crazy. So she pops him one in the head. Who do I mean she? I mean Liv. Liv shoots him one in the head, one and done. Okay? So now they got 10 hours of paperwork to deal with because she actually fired her weapon. She's still shaking though. I mean, Liv is still shaking. And that's what lets me know that she's a good captain, because some people can just shoot you. No big deal. They shake it off. They work it off. No problem. But she's shaking because she's taking a life, and it means something to her. It means something about any time that she fires her gun. She doesn't want to have to do it, but in this case, she had to do it. She had to kill somebody. So, I mean, this episode was really juicy. So, what did you think about the return of Declan? What did you think about the appearance of Jason Biggs? Do you think that Amanda and Declan need to have a further conversation? Do you think that Amanda is going to invite Declan over to the house to see Jesse? Because she should. I think she should. And then another question. Do you think that Declan and Carisi are going to meet? Do you think they're going to meet? And how do you think they're going to feel about each other? Because has she told Carisi that that's Declan's child? I don't know. I don't remember that ever happening. Well, I don't know. I guess we'll see. If you enjoyed the content you saw today, please consider subscribing. I cover Law & Order SVU and Law & Order Organized Crime. And I'll see you in my next video, Law & Order On.